Okay, first off, whoa. This is as weird for me as it is for you, I'm sure, so let's all just take a deep breath and get past it. I'm subjecting you to this because today's video is about dexterity games, and I don't really have the qualifications to make a physics simulation for this video. So let's go ahead and kill the radio star with this thing, shall we? Our first game is a staple of dexterity games everywhere. It's Jenga Extreme! It's really pretty simple. All you have to do is... Okay, so our next game is Pitch Car. You get a bunch of nice wooden track pieces that all fit together in various ways. Players rebound around the track trying to be the first to cross the finish line in 3 laps. It's got a demolition derby style feel to it since there's no real penalty for coming into contact with other players. There's lots of expansions for it, so you can build some cool giganto tracks which take hours to complete a single lap. If you can make sure that people won't flick their cars into the next county, it's perfectly acceptable to get crunked up with your friends for this one. Our next game requires a bit more finesse though, so no crunking for you. It's called Bicycle. Players take turns smacking this wibbly-wobbly ball around a track. It's got miniature marbles inside that make it easier to spin and stop and do all kinds of crazy stuff with. This is a good time if you're more interested in controlling the object of your flicking aggression. I feel like it's really rewarding to send the ball sailing around a corner and backspin to a complete stop right in front of the ramp for your next turn. The base game comes with a single ball, and players mark their positions with these cyclist figures, but there's a penalty for knocking them over. Boo to that, I say. Boo! Pick up the 3 Z-ball expansion and draw colored lines on them. Much better. Catacombs looks like a pretty cool flicking meets D&D kind of game, but they were all out of review copies, so I've got nothing to show you. Too bad. Here's another game though, Tumbling Dice. Everyone has some dice they want to send rolling down this tiered thing. The only stipulation is that your die has to contact the top platform first before doing anything else. When everyone's done rolling, players multiply the faces of their dice by the level they landed on and add their score up. First to 100 or 200 or whatever wins. It's a good game for kids since it teaches math, but the main issue I have with it is one of chaos. There's nowhere to hide in this game. It's not that hard to knock someone's dice off the table with your own, leaving you the only one with points. That's assuming you're able to actually keep your dice on the board to begin with. People of widely differing skill levels will find themselves either unchallenged or outmatched, and people with the same skill level just take turns knocking each other's dice off and hope that they end up with a lot of points. I would only recommend this game along with the crunking we talked about before. If you just want to throw some dice around and score points, then this game's okay. Not awesome, but okay. So let's get to the main event, the thing you're all here to see, I'm sure. This is the Mayday Games $100 Crokinole board. What we have here is a board that won't cost you as much as a current generation gaming console. This is a good choice for someone who's heard about this wacky Canadian game but can't muster the fortitude to drop 20 Hamiltons on a board sight unseen. Or game unplayed for that matter. We'll talk about the board itself shortly, but here's how to play the actual game. Players take turns trying to flick their wooden discs into the center hole, setting aside any successful shots to be scored later. If they miss, then the disc has to come to rest within or touching the larger ring in the middle of the board, or that disc is ditched. If your opponent has any discs on the board when it's your turn to shoot, one of their discs needs to be moved as a result of your shot. If that doesn't happen, then your shot and any of your discs that moved are ditched, and that's bad. When both sides are done shooting discs, anything touching the scoring rings are moved to the lower areas and all the discs are scored up. The winner gets the difference in points and players go to 100. That's it. I love Crokinole. It's by far my favorite dexterity game. BGG has a 1 to 10 scale where 10 is a game that you will never turn down, and unless I've been playing for like 3 hours straight, I'll never turn down a game. And even that's debatable. So let's talk about Mayday's board. A standard crokinole board is made of wood with a surface that's been sanded, and polished until it's smooth and slick. However, the playing surface on Mayday's board is instead some kind of glossy photo sticker with a wood pattern applied to a relatively flat surface instead of the wood veneer originally advertised. But if I'm being totally honest, the surface seems quite playable for a more casual board. The pegs break pretty easily though, and the metal screws that come with the board are a bit too large. I would instead recommend going to a hardware store and getting 8 of these types of screws along with some vinyl tubing to fit over them. For people who know what they're buying, this board isn't so bad. But wait, look at the price. It was $99 with free shipping, but now it's $134 plus shipping, which puts it into the $150 range. Now, the Holinsky brothers can sell you a custom-made 100% wood board for another $50, with shipping already included. Is that worth it? I think so, but you may not, so it's totally up to you. Anyway, there you go. There's a whole slew of Dexterity games to choose from these days, some better than others. If you have large groups of people and/or booze, then something like Pitch Car or Bicycle would be fun, or maybe even Tumblin' Dice if you have a lot of booze. If you're willing to play on teams or rotate in while everyone else does something else, I highly recommend getting a crokinole board. In fact, I recommend it anyway. Man, I'm gonna go play some of that right now. Right now!